What's up, everybody? It's G here, and I'm doing a little how-to. This one is how to make a Dub Techno style type chord in Ableton Live using their instrument analog. Now, I'm using analog because a lot of people use operator to do it, and I just wanted the challenge. So this is the sound we're going to make. Turn these down a little bit so you can probably hear that a little better. So let's group this down. So yeah, here's the sound that we're going to try to achieve today. And if you look at it, there's a lot going on here, kind of, but not really. It's pretty simple, and this is just all using Ableton stuff. Now, normally when I make stuff, I don't use a lot of Ableton stuff. I use the filter, but I don't use the delays because I don't really like them. I don't know, I just don't. But that's me. So, and some other stuff. So without further ado, dragging this on, let's start a new MIDI track. I should note that analog is only part of Ableton Live 9 Suite. So if you don't have Suite, you're not gonna be able to do this, but the concepts do apply to other synths. And if you'd like to see me do it in a different synth, plug-in, hardware, whatever, just leave me a comment below. If I don't have it, it will be kind of hard to do it, just simply because I don't own it. So I can try to get a demo or something like that to help you out. But the more comments, likes, and subscribes that you give my channel, the easier it is to get those things. So make sure to do that. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go to Instruments. We're going to go Analog. Pop it in there. Create a MIDI track, and I'm only going to do one note because that's just how I roll. Put it back here. Because we're going to use some of Ableton's stock MIDI devices to help us out here. So right here. I am doing it in G minor. You can do it in any key that you want. A lot of Dub Techno tends to be in minor chords, it seems like. So we're going to go here to MIDI effects, and we're going to grab scale. Actually, we're going to grab the preset of C minor, and I'm doing this in, let's turn this off, that's annoying. We're doing this in G, so we're going to bump this bass up to G minor, so it's in G minor. And then I'm going to grab the chord, and then we're going to go 3 and 7 for our basic minor chord. And I also duplicate this over one more, as my crazy brain just wants to make sure everything's in G minor. So this will ensure that, for the most part, it's in G minor. This isn't 100%, doesn't work all the time. So music theory is key, and I don't have very good music theory. So we'll turn this down a little bit. So, and then I just put it here and here on the basically 8th note, because that's usually where I tend to put these at. Let's see this one. Actually, this one's back here, so we'll move this over one more. So it's a little swingy. Now we could start it a little bit like right here. So still swingy, but not as much. Maybe extend this out just a little bit. I know it's really annoying. So first things first. For your basic dub chord, it's going to be 1 or 2 saw waves, saw oscillators on a synthesizer. We're using 2 here. They're both going to filter 1, and the filter 1's going to filter 2, which we will use. We're going to turn this amp off here, because the amp basically is serial or parallel how you're going to do this. So if you have amp on 1, it's going to go right out the amp 1, and it's going to go on amp 2. So we want amp 1 off, amp 2 on, and we also want to, this is sub sync. This allows you to add a sub oscillator or sync the oscillators. We're going to add a sub oscillator to both these and add it on. And what this does is it creates another oscillator 1 octave down, I believe. I could be totally wrong. Let's see what the tool will say. Yeah, additional sub oscillator tune 1 octave below. Look at that. So now we have this, which almost sounds like what we're trying to achieve, right? But we gotta turn this down. It's a little loud. We're gonna turn this down a little bit because we're gonna bring the volume up when we start adding effects in here and whatnot. This is still pretty loud, so let's just back this off a little more. Okay, then we're gonna take filter 1 here. This is the key to really Dub Techno is the filter, the delay, and the reverb. And Dub Techno kind of comes from other types of styles of dub, where it's really about playing with delays and tape delays and reverbs and just trying to get really interesting space echoey kind of sounds. Hence why everyone uses the Roland space echo for everything. But we don't have that today. We're just using Ableton's analog because everyone uses operator, so I'm doing analog just to be different because why not? It's the internet. There's room for everything. So, okay, so we're going to turn this guy all the way down. And when you do that, oops, put this at 0. This defaults to 4, which is annoying, especially if you don't want envelopes. You got to go in here. So now we can't hear it because the filter's all the way closed. But what this envelope's going to allow us to do is adjust when the filter opens up based on the length of the note and the length of the decay and sustain and stuff like that. We're not using key tracking, so the length of the note and the pitch of the note isn't going to make any difference. So it does have a drive on here. We can play with that, but maybe later. We turn it off. We'll just leave it on the first one here, and that's kind of how it pushes the filter. So we're going to turn sustain all the way down. Release time, I'm just going to leave it there because I think that works well. And then we're going to turn the decay all the way down first, and then turn the envelope all the way up so it's using 100% of the envelope, even though it's like 16. It's just, I don't know why they do that. Anyways, we want to be able to use this envelope to control when the filter opens up and how fast it closes after the note's done playing. So as we start to push this out, we start to get like little percussion-y blips, right? And the further we go out, around 300 milliseconds on this particular one, and it can change. I have one synth that I use that it's about like 100 milliseconds is where it should be at. So, but for this one, you know, it's 300. Again, this doesn't have it be exact. It's where you feel it. It's a big part of music is feeling it, what you like to hear, and what sounds right to you. Don't worry about what other people say. This is just a guide to get you kind of an idea of what you want, okay? And as you go out, the note kind of gets longer and the filter stays open a little longer. But we're going to bring this back down to 300 for now. Oops. If you're typing it in, it'd be 0.3. And then we got filter 2, which sounds better. I like the low pass 12 personally, so I'm gonna go with that. All right, then filter 2, we're just gonna use this to bring a little bit of resonance in, maybe 20%. And then we're gonna cut this off at about 5,000 hertz. Just so it cuts a lot of the high end out, because you don't really need a lot of high end for the style of Dub Techno. Okay, next is going to be the filter. Now, in Ableton Live 9.5, they changed the filters around on a lot of their devices and their auto filter. I do not like the bandpass filter at all. So I have an older version, the older, not pre 9.5, saved here, which I could just call dub filter, but really it's just the old bandpass filter. Saved as an Ableton rack. I'm going to ungroup it. I need a group for this. That allows me to have it the way I want it. Like, I love this bandpass filter. I don't know why I like it so much, but, you know, this is my go-to bandpass filter 9 times out of 10. All right, next we're going to need some delay. So we are going to, actually I'm going to add some saturation just to spice it up a bit. So I'm going to put saturator in here. Now this is set to solenoid full, but you got to be careful with this because it adds about 3 dB of volume. So you can back that off, but I don't because I like the way it sounds a little warm. And normally it comes in here with analog clip as the default, but I set it to solenoid fold. I went up here and hit save as default preset. So every time I load this in here, it's the default preset. And I also made sure high quality is on, so it's processing at a higher quality rate, so you get a little better sound. It's usually in the high end sound a little crispier, a little clearer. Low ends, generally, it doesn't seem to make a difference for me personally. So we got the basics of it here. This may be done 300 milliseconds again. Oops. Actually, I'm on the wrong one. Here we go. Yeah, it is on 300. So these both have independent envelopes. This one we're going to put at 0 because we don't need this envelope. Right? Okay, so now next is delay. We're going to do a simple delay. A lot of people use ping pong delay maybe after the reverb. Some people use delay before the reverb. This particular sound uses the simple delay before the reverb. I'm going to link them because they both need to be the same. I'm going to put it in repitch mode. That way it's more like tape delay. Like you can kind of hear it if you like move around a lot. That's kind of like what tape delay does. You hear that like repitching as it goes. Whereas opposed to fade, where it kind of does that doubling. Right, and then you can do jump. And you may like one of those better, but anyways, I'm put it in repitch mode. I put it at 3/16, so that's like an eighth, like 1/8 delayed dotted. So it's kind of like putting swing on your delay. Kind of like what we did with the notes. I'm just going to bring the feedback to where I like it. Usually leave the dry wet at 50%. Sometimes I back it off maybe to 40%. But I'm liking this, and I just link them because it makes it easier. The left and right can be the same. I'm not trying to do any craziness. Now you can bring up the sync, like adjust the sync a little bit. And what that does is kind of gives it more of a less surgical, less digital kind of feel, more analog kind of feel. And you just kind of play with it to see how you like it. For me, I'm cool with that. It's just a little off, not exactly perfect. So it's less machine and more human sounding. And then next we're going to put Ableton's reverb in here. Now, sometimes I jump between echo and high quality mode. Echo is a lower quality mode, and it can sometimes add a little bit of grit or dirt to the sound. Not a lot, not like you're thinking like saturation or distortion would do. It's less quality sound. But for this, we're going to do high quality because that's kind of what I want to go for. And we're going to bring the input filtering down a little bit to about here. 2.5 milliseconds pre-delay. I'm going to bump this up to 3 milliseconds. The other one's I think at 2.5, but we're gonna kind of feel it out here. I don't really need any spin on it. A little bit of chorus, kind of like right in there. I'm gonna just have it not do the lows as much. And then we're gonna bring it down about 35% up to decay. And now it's really starting to sound more like a Dub Techno or Deep Techno, or just like a techno-y stabby kind of sound. And I'm going to bring up the diffuse, and this will bring up a more space and ambient like hiss fill. Maybe the reflect up a little bit. Let's see. It's a little brighter. So, but there's nothing in here that's different. See, it's all the same. So I have some devices turned off, like ping pong delay and the auto pan. Sometimes I use those. I was playing around with stuff. And then we're gonna put a compressor on here, just because reverb can really mess with the sound of stuff. I'm just gonna have it touch. I'm gonna take the knee off. 2 to 1's good. we'll bring the attack down just a little bit. That's good. And then I want to put the look ahead at 10 milliseconds. That just kind of brings up the quality of the compressor a little bit. So, and you can have it hitting as much as you want. I tend to leave it so it's gonna get at the craziest. It's gonna put a little bit on there. I'm gonna play with stuff. So to make our lives easier, so we can have different control over stuff, we're gonna group everything. So you select everything, right click, go group. This is gonna give us some macros here for us to make it easier to adjust stuff, so we're gonna have to go all the way across the screen and just play with this here. We're gonna map some stuff that I normally don't map just for this here. So we're gonna map the decay to 1, and we're gonna put this at 0.3 because that's how far we want it to go down and go all the way up. But we're just gonna say, F decay 1's good, so we know what that is. And then we're gonna map the cutoff here, map that. That's all the way down. That's fine. And I think we're going to map that, and then that way it should allow us just to switch between these. And we're gonna so if you wanted just to quickly switch between the different delays, do some weird effects and stuff like that while you're messing around with these. You can MIDI map these. Compressor, reverb. We might want to map. Let's map the decay time there, right here. So decay time. All right, so let's map that here. We're gonna click on it, map. If you wanted to get like a really big swell going on, you have it. And it just makes it easier to adjust these settings without having to go and find it, and then it's easier to MIDI map stuff. And bring up the kick snare a little bit. So, and that's it. That's how you use Ableton's analog to make a dub delay. Hope you enjoyed this. It was kind of long, almost 20 minutes, but did a lot of explaining. So let me know what you thought by giving this video a like, either good or bad, thumbs up, thumbs down, maybe both. If you hated it, liked it, leave a comment. Let me know what you picked up from it, what you think I could do better, what you'd like to see done next time, and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Later.